Galarian birds are the bane of my existence, but they don't have to be, because there's actually strategies you can use in Pokemon Go to have a better time encountering them, catching them, and get more of them. And that's what we're talking about today in my full Galarian bird guide. Galarian Articuno, Galarian Zapdos, and Galarian Moltres can only spawn, so far, from Daily Adventure Incense. Daily Adventure Incense can be used once a day and it will last for 15 minutes. And you have to be walking for it to work. 5 months ago as well, Niantic did release the Galarian bird shinies into Pokemon Go, and they have a 1 in 20 shiny odds, which means every time you click on a Galarian bird, there's a 1 in 20 chance it's a shiny. If you do encounter a shiny Galarian bird, it will not flee from you, but it is not a guaranteed catch. So you can end up throwing like 500 Pokeballs before you catch it. There is obviously the scare as well. If your game does crash, you will not get that encounter again. So be stressed. Now, let's talk about Galarian bird catch rate. Galarian Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres are extremely difficult to catch with only a 0.3% catch rate and a 90% flee rate. This means that if you don't catch it on the first ball, there's a 90% chance it runs away. Majority of the time, you'll only have one chance to catch this Pokemon. But there are rare times when the Galarian Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres does decide to stay. However, it's always recommended to use a Golden Raspberry and an Ultra Ball to maximize your chances, and there's some other tips we'll talk about in this video to increase your chances as well. Now let's talk about if Galarian Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres are actually any good, and are these Pokemon actually getting, other than the fact that they're rare? Well, Galarian Articuno is a Psychic and Flying type Pokemon with a max EP at level 50 of 4,059, attack of 250, stamina of 207, defense of 197. As far as raids go, Galarian Articuno isn't that good of a raid attacker because there's just so many powerful Psychic type Pokemon, and not good for GBL, so this one is probably the worst of the three. Galarian Zapdos is a Fighting and Flying type Pokemon, attack of 252, stamina of 207, defense of 189, with a max EP of 4,012. Galarian Zapdos, again, not a good raid attacker, but in GBL, it is ranked 132 in the Open Master League, and with a couple move updates, this thing could be good again, because it was good before the counter nerf. But Galarian Moltres is where it's at. Dark and Flying type Pokemon, stamina of 207, attack of 202, defense of 231, with a max EP of 3,580. Galarian Moltres is a rank 16 flying type attacker in Pokemon Go, but in the GBL, in the Open Great League, it's ranked 58, in the Open Ultra League, ranked 18, and the Master League, ranked 59. Galarian Moltres is also a pretty popular Pokemon in the official play Pokemon tournaments, so overall for PvP, Galarian Moltres is definitely the best choice and has the best moveset at the time making this video, but all of this is changeable as the movesets change, so subscribe to the channel for updates. These Pokemon also have exclusive moves. Galarian Articuno has Freezing Glare, a psychic move, Galarian Zapdos having Thunderous Kick, a fighting move, and Galarian Moltres Fiery Wrath, a dark type move. These moves are not in Pokemon Go yet, but could come in the future for a different Pokemon Go event of sorts, so stay tuned for that to potentially buff these Pokemon. Now, the most common question I get is, what are the odds of encountering a Galarian bird off your Daily Adventure Incense? And it is a very rare spawn, and based on a Reddit post I will link below and a lot of research being done, the odds are anywhere between 1 in 500 and 1 in 1,000. AKA, at the very highest odds, it's a 0.002 chance of encountering a Galarian bird every single encounter. It is completely RNG, the odds of encountering a Galarian bird. There's a couple strategies we can use to try to increase those odds, but just know you're in for a run. However, when you do encounter a Galarian bird, it is very important to know the 100% IVs. On screen is Galarian Zapdos' 100% IV chart, showing you its hundo from a level 1 to level 50. And you might think this is not useful, but if you encounter a 2027 CP Galarian Zapdos in the wild, there is a chance that is a level 20 hundo. Why is this useful? Well, if you want to use your Master Ball on a potential hundo Galarian bird, this is how you'll do it. You'll look at the CP of your Galarian bird, you'll relate it to its 100% IV chart, and you'll see if that CP matches a number. If it matches, there is a chance that it could be a hundo. Now, it's not always guaranteed to be a hundo. I could find, a 1723 CP Galarian Zapdos. It could be a higher level Galarian bird with worse IVs, not guaranteed, but still very useful if you think you've encountered a Galarian hundo, and you should potentially consider using your Master Ball. I'll link below the 3 Galarian bird 100% IV charts. Okay, what you came here for. How do we maximize encounters with Galarian bird? Well, there's a couple strategies we can use. Number 1, walk in a straight line. Unlike regular incense, Daily Incense tracks your movement from a point to a point using your GPS, not your steps. Meaning that for you to trigger another Daily Adventure Incense spawn, you need to move a certain distance away from your last point on GPS. So it's very important to walk in a straight as much, like as straight line as you can away from where that last spawn was. Walking down straight roads is a good strategy, but walking in circles or on curvy roads isn't great because you aren't going as far from that last GPS point as you could be. If you have limited space as well, something I always do is when you're walking and you're coming to the end of where you can walk to, wait until a spawn appears. When that daily adventure instance spawn appears, instantly turn around, book it the other way, and get as far away from that GPS spawn as you can to trigger another. It's also vital to use daily adventure instance when there is weather boost for the Galarian birds. I would try to use your daily adventure instance when the weather is windy. Of course, you can use it when it is foggy, for example, to have a higher chance on Galarian Moltres, but windy will boost all 3 of the Galarian birds since they all share the flying type. Generally, when there is weather boost, a weather boosted Pokemon has a higher chance of spawning because that is the current weather. So yes, cloudy weather could boost Galarian Zapdos, foggy weather could boost Galarian Moltres, but windy weather will boost all 3, and I would highly recommend going for that weather condition. You obviously can't control the weather, but keep an eye out for it because you never know when it's windy, maybe it's time to pop your daily incense. Also, walk a new route with daily adventure incense. A recent tip found in the community is when you're walking a route that you've never discovered before, you will have boosted incense spawns and boosted daily adventure incense spawns. It's not an insane boost. You're maybe going to get a 10 to 20% boost in the amount of spawns you get, but that can still be very useful because the more spawns you get, the more potential encounters with Galarian birds you get. It's always vital to do your daily adventure instance on a route you've never walked before. Finally, to boost your daily adventure instance spawns, look out for boosted incense events. Sometimes Niantic will boost the daily adventure instance from 15 minutes to 30 minutes on a certain day, and sometimes they'll even boost this chance of encountering a Galarian bird. Subscribing here to the channel, I'll let you know when that is, so you can be in the loops with when you should be using your daily adventure instance, and when there are certain events where taking advantage of it is definitely worth it. Okay, you've encountered a Galarian bird. How do you catch it quicker? Well, there's a couple things we can boost our catch rate with. Number one, of course, using Ultra Balls. This Pokeball has the highest rate compared to Pokeballs and Great Balls, so definitely use Ultra Balls anytime you're trying to catch a Galarian bird. You also want to land an excellent throw. The smaller the circle size is on that Galarian bird, the higher catch multiplier you're going to get when catching that Pokemon. Landing an excellent throw is definitely worth it. You can catch them on great throws, but your odds are much worse. So trying for that excellent, even if you end up missing it, is good practice. So over time, you get better at excellent throws. If you actually want to get better at hitting excellent throws on Galarian birds, waiting for events where Zara is spawning and making a Galarian bird your buddy will give you Galarian bird encounters in the wild. Of course, they're actually Zara, where you can go ahead and practice hitting excellent throws on Galarian birds. This is something I did during the Unova tour when all the Zaras would spawn into my Galarian Articuno. I could practice hitting excellent throws on Galarian Articuno and get better at them, so when I encounter a real one, I have that training. Also use a golden raspberry, of course, the best berry to use on any Pokemon to fully maximize your catching odds. But also, platinum your metals. When you platinum your flying, psychic, fighting, and dark type metal, these will actually give you a catch boost for catching Pokemon of that type. So if I have a platinum flying metal, I will get a +4 bonus, whatever that means, when catching Pokemon of that type. If you don't have those metals platinumed, catch those types of Pokemon to increase your odds on catching Galarian birds. However, there's a new way to increase your catching odds. Freeze Shock and Ice Burn, Black and White Kyurem's adventure effects have just dropped a bonus that increase your odds and help you catch Pokemon easier. Freeze Shock on a Black Kyurem can be used for Kyurem candies and Stardust, and this effect has a 2-in-1 bonus. The first effect will freeze the Pokemon encounter, making it unable to attack. So think of a Nadnab berry. This is good because Galarian birds like to jump, move around, all that stuff. It'll freeze them in place, very useful. The second effect though is that you'll be able to catch the Pokemon easier. We don't know what exact catch multiplier this is, but this adventure effect will just make it easier to catch Pokemon, so it's highly recommended to have Freeze Shock active. Your second option though is to use Ice Burn. If you happen to have a white Kyurem with the move Ice Burn, you can go ahead and use it for Kyurem candies and Stardust. And again, it has a 2-in-1 effect. The first effect, it will slow down the catch ring, making it easier to land excellent throws. You know, when you're holding that Pokemon and the catch ring is changing size, this will be moving a lot slower. On top of that, the same effect as before, it'll make it easier to catch Pokemon. We don't know what the catch rate increase is, probably the same as Freeze Shock, but any bonus is useful. Overall, between the two, what adventure effect is better for catching Galarian birds? I would say Ice Burn. The reason for, I think the excellent throw multiplier is a really big game changer when catching Galarian birds, and landing that excellent throw is important. So if that circle moving slower helps you out, go go with that. If you're already good at hitting excellent throws, I would go with Freeze Shock, because having the Galarian Bird not be able to move will just allow you to land that excellent throw super easy. Whatever adventure effect helps you land an excellent throw easier is what you should go with. However, there is a third adventure effect option, Roar of Time. Roar of Time on a Dialga origin form can be used for Dialga candies and Stardust, and for every 6 minutes will cost 5 Dialga candies and 5,000 Stardust. And what this does is it freezes your timer on your daily adventure instance. So if you want to use daily adventure instance for more than 15 minutes every single day, you can use Roar of Time to increase that amount of time. This is very useful because, of course, the more daily adventure instance encounters you get, the more chance you have of encountering a Galarian Bird, and that's what we're here for. Overall, if you just want to increase your chances of encountering Galarian Birds, go with Roar of Time. But if you're just looking for one Galarian Bird encounter and you really want to make sure you catch it, Ice Burn and Freeze Shock can be a really good option, because those will actually help you catch them, versus Roar of Time will help you encounter them. So depends which one is more valuable to you. Unfortunately, you can only have one adventure effect active at a time. If we could have more, that would be amazing. Finally, the best thing to catch Pokemon easier and Galarian Birds easier is going to be two things. Number one, of course, the Master Ball. We've had the chance to have 4 Master Balls in Pokemon Go through paid and timed research tickets. And of course, when you use the Master Ball, it's a guaranteed 100% chance to catch a Pokemon. So if you're really desperate to catch a Galarian Bird, using a Master Ball on a Galarian Bird, never a bad option. I wouldn't use it on a shiny Galarian Bird because those things will never run. You just have to keep hucking Pokeballs at it until it stays in the ball. But a Master Ball on a regular Galarian Bird, it's a good choice. But if we ever get the return of Safari Balls, those are going to be the best balls to use on Galarian Birds. Only seen during the Wild Area 2024, we had the introduction of the Safari Ball. These balls can only be used during those events and were mainly designed to catch mighty Pokemon, but you could use these balls on any Pokemon, and people were encountering Galarian Birds using mighty balls on them and having a much higher chance. I think the circle goes from like a dark red to like a yellowish color, which means the catch rate is much better. So if we ever get the return of Safari Balls, it can be a very good strategy to use your daily adventure instance, use Roar of Time, try to encounter Galarian Birds, and then use those Safari Balls and Golden Raspberries to catch them easier. Guys, I have 2 videos where I use daily adventure instance for 24 hours straight. I highly recommend you watch both of those on screen, as I do share some tips in those videos about how to get more encounters with Galarian Birds. Hopefully this video helped you out. Follow for more tips, everybody. Peace.